Hello and welcome to How to Start a Board Game Company. I'm Jake Cormier from Off the Page Games. Now today I want to talk about pledge managers. Now you could use Kickstarter to collect all the addresses you need, and then you'll have a distribution list that you can send all your games out to once you get to your fulfillment company or whoever you're distributing your games out to your backers. Or you use a pledge manager, and there's tons to go through here. There's many pledge manager, backer kit, Gamefound, all sorts of different ones that are out there. Now this video isn't a comparison or anything like that because I haven't used many. I've only used one, and so actually I'm just going to be talking about Gamefound. Now Gamefound, I used that last year when I did my Fail Faster journal, and I'm using it this year for mind management. And I would say probably one of the top reasons, if not the top reason why I'm using it, is because it's free. That's pretty nice. So every other pledge manager system uses takes some sort of percentage off of your sales. Some of them do it such that it's a percentage off of any new sales. They're not going to take percentage off of any Kickstarter money that you've raised and processing all those people coming in, but any new sales, they'll take a percentage of that. And Gamefound doesn't do it. Now, of course, you do have to have some sort of payment way to process a payment like Stripe or PayPal, and they'll take a percentage off, but it's the same as if you went with anyone else. So that's a fee that you have to pay no matter what, the Stripe or PayPal fee. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. So I'm going to go through Gamefound and a little bit about some of the pros and cons of how that is set up, and maybe talk a little bit about how it's changed even since I used it last year, and it's changed a lot for the better. So it's great. So let's take a look. First off, you get a nice creator dashboard so you can see combined all the projects you've done. And then we're specifically talking about mind management. So let's go in here. So this is the first nice thing. It's got a little dashboard that shows you how much money you've raised with this project so far, and how many of these are extra payments versus actual late fees, and then how much of that is shipping fees that's been collected so far. And currently I'm at 82% of the people that I've sent an invite to have actually gone in here, added their address and paid for shipping. So I've done it where you pay for shipping afterwards. So now in this pledge manager, I'm collecting shipping, and I've talked about this before. It's so that Kickstarter doesn't take another 10%. As Canadians, we have to pay 10% of what we get raised. It's around maybe closer to 9 of what we raise in Kickstarter. It goes to Kickstarter. So why include your shipping price in that is one of the reasons. So let's do it afterwards. Kickstarter doesn't touch that, and then this money is, especially from Gamefound, it's all mine. It's all going to go towards shipping. So you get the average order and all this kind of stuff. But then this is kind of nice. So I've 41,000 extra payments came in above and beyond what was paid to me from Kickstarter, and 31,000 of that is in shipping fees. So I'm pretty close, almost $10,000 extra in extra orders, which is nice. I've already got 64 extra copies of the game has already been purchased, and I haven't done tons of marketing for this, just some Facebook postings. So this is because it's going to be open for a few more months, so I'm going to put a big push near the end to make it feel more urgent. But this is kind of nice, and you can here you can import users and all sorts of things. And it gives you some nice little graphs and tells you your top selling items and units and backers and all sorts of stuff. So you got a lot of nice little kind of summary stuff. So that's nice. Then we go, that's the project dashboard. We can go into the project settings. In the project settings, you got your game name. Here's your URL. I come to this page all the time just to get the very clean URL. That's exactly what I share to everybody. There's the URL. And is it published? So obviously for the all the time that you're creating this is on no, and you can do all sorts of changes and nobody will see a single thing until you go click this to yes. So that's kind of nice because you can actually start making this even while your Kickstarter's on, or even before your Kickstarter started. You can start making all of this, which is pretty nice. And then all this stuff here, it shows where's your Kickstarter page. Great. And categories of like, so when people searching on Gamefound, once that Gamefound becomes bigger and bigger place to go for backing games and pledge managing games, late pledging games, this will be where you can help you with your searches, and then it gives you avatars and images that you can put elsewhere. So that's kind of nice. And then that's just general. So then we can go into about. Here's a short description that goes on the main page, and here is a long description. And what else do you want to show? So age and stuff like that. And let's do a quick thing of what this looks like. So for users that come in, they're going to see my management and a little short description, and here's the long description and a link to the Kickstarter page so they can get all the kind of fun information. And I see all 4 of these versions because I am the controller, but you'd only ever see 2 of these. You'd only see either, if you backed it, you would see the Kickstarter edition retail and the Kickstarter edition deluxe, and you can see that the price is there is 89, but the full value is actually 93, so you can see you get a bit of a savings, so that's nice. Whereas if you just are a late backer, you do have to pay the 67 or 93, so it's a little bit more for you. And that was a bit I mentioned before because of the Canadian dollar tanking so hard during this campaign. So that's why. So this is cool. So now let's go into one of these. Let's go into the late backer, for example, of the deluxe. And if you're visually, this is what you would see if you were backing it. You get to see all these different images, which is nice. You can upload obviously any images that you want. And you still have your product description. For more information, I put what the differences are for the deluxe edition, and then there's a section for reviews. This is actually a section that's in there to do the setup. So that's kind of nice and clean. There's lots more functionality that it has that I don't need about doing add-ons that you can have in this as well. Okay, so now let's go back here. That's what all this looks. If we go into orders, we can see that can we allow orders, adding orders? Yes. Can we allow changing address? Yes. Does it require phone number? I said yes, etc. So these are all just like technical things. Payments is where you put in your Stripe or PayPal. I disabled PayPal because all the feedback I've seen from all other board game creators, Kickstarter creators and board game companies have said to avoid PayPal. There's just too many issues with it where they cancel things and they don't, I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but I've just heard lots of feedback saying don't do PayPal. It's just too much of a hassle and there's too many hiccups with PayPal on these kind of things. For currency, there's a couple ways to do it. I just did it where everything is in Canadian dollars, so that's the only one that's default and active and enabled. Everything else is no. If you wanted to, you can enable all of them, but then you actually have to punch in the rate, and then that rate is the rate for the entire time that this Pledge Manager is open. So you know what I mean? So if it's a Canadian dollars is $1, if that's your base rate, if that's what you want to do it at, then the US dollar would be at 72 cents, for example, if you want to enter that in. Or would it be the other way around? See, I don't even know. $1.30 you would get for every, no, it is 72 cents. Yeah. Anyways, so I find this is just cleaner. Everyone just sees a Canadian dollar, but you can alter it if you want, but you can't go in and change it. Or I guess you could, but it'll be frustrating. Shipping is the hardest part of this, figuring this whole thing out. Now, the good thing I will mention about Gamefound is I had a person named Martin Poole, who helped walk me through every single question I had and helped me set everything up, and it was awesome and very helpful. And I don't know if you get that in other late pledge manager type companies, to have an actual person walk you through everything. So I had somebody help me walk me through everything, which is great. So I have 2 here. I have a worldwide shipping and a Vancouver pickup as my shipping models. And then, so for example, if I go to worldwide shipping, I can view the details of this. Oh, there's nothing here. We'll get into shipping zones. These are all the different, there's different layers to this, and it is confusing, and I did need help walking through it. But this is from my campaign. I broke all my shipping down into these kind of zones. So then if we go actually into the locations, this is where you get you actually tag each one in a location, and you do require to validate the VAT ID, yes, and is this an enabled country? So you can actually disable countries if you don't want to ship to those countries. I don't think I have any sub-locations. No, this is if you want to do states and stuff like that. And then shipping stages, I don't have any of those. Shipping cost rules, here I have retailer and the base game. So for the base game, for example, this is where you're going to put in for each of these zones that you had, what is the shipping price? And this is what's listed right on the Kickstarter page. These are all the prices. Now what I did here, it's kind of a weird, tricky way to do it, but this is for Vancouver pickup. So because it's selectable as an option for shipping, you're like, oh, Vancouver pickup, you could pick it. But if your address is in Austria, this is the only price that's going to come up for you. But if you're Vancouver and it comes, if you click this and your address is in Vancouver or anywhere in Canada, the price will be 0. So you'll see the difference between this. If you select worldwide shipping, you're going to get this price. But if you pick Vancouver pickup, it's only free if you are actually in Canada, and hopefully only those that are in Vancouver, because I can't. That's not local, unless you're coming to Vancouver. Obviously, if you're coming to Vancouver, we can figure it out. And then I don't think there's anything for me in shipping. That's that. And then in communication, this is what happens with, there's your contact email address, a welcome message that goes to anybody that joins in and gets invited to this, and then a thank you for anybody that completes their order. So that's kind of nice. That's personable. And then let's go up here. We have different types of products. So we have, I think actually we start with, the products. You have to list all the different tiers that you have available. So for example, I had a Super Spy that was a $2,500. There's only one of them, but you have to create a tier for that. Then I had a Deluxe and Signed Art, and there was 250. There's only 30 of those, so that's its own thing. And then Retailer Pledge, I have to do that. And as you saw from before, a Deluxe and a Deluxe Kickstarter, and a Retail Kickstarter. So that was because of the price went up a little bit. Even though it shows the price being $67, once you go into it, there's a discount on the Kickstarter one. And I think, then if we go into any of these, so let's go into that Deluxe edition here. This is where we get to enter in just more basic information category. Where's the normal price is $93, and size and dimension. That only comes into weight if you're doing shipping, how you're doing your shipping. Shipping cost, is it by quantity or by weight? I did it by, no, I did by quantity for Fail Faster as well. That's general, and that's description. This is where you actually enter in all this information. So you can see testimonials is its own section for reviews. So that was, and the more info, these are 3 different sections you have to add this kind of stuff. And then here's where you have your gallery, and you can add as many images as you want. I don't remember what's under options. Not sure what that's for. Okay. So that's product settings. And as you can imagine, that part is all pretty straightforward. The shipping was the most confusing thing. And then our users, this is where I'm here often. You can, I'm going to blur out all the details so you don't see anybody's names, but here you can search for anybody you want. So if somebody has an issue, you can come in here and you can find their information. So let's just try to find Matt Kint, because I know he actually backed this game. So here he is, Matt Kint. If I click on him, I get all the information about Matt Kint. So I get his name and everything. And currently you can see that he's placed no orders. So he has not placed any orders. But you can see up here how it works is Gamefound gives each backer credits equal to the amount that they paid for on Kickstarter. So he has 89 Canadian dollars as credits. So if we view his cart, of which he has nothing, he has $89 and no shipping. So he has to add shipping and in order for it to then be finalized and considered to be complete and add to that percentage we saw on that first screen. So this is pretty handy. You also have the ability here to do all sorts of things like add a fee or add a discount if you need to solve customer issues. You have some flexibility here to do that kind of stuff, which is nice. And you can do the same thing. So now we're on orders. So you could search right for an order because every order actually has a specific number that you can search for, or through your users. And I find that pretty handy. And I think that's the meat and potatoes of it. So that's a quick overview of Gamefound. I'm curious about the other ones like BackerKit. I know is very popular and they do a lot of things for the industry as well. So I'm curious about that. I do know that Gamefound is trying to, in the future, their plan, and the reason why it's free right now is that they're trying to attract a lot of gamers to the site as part of backing other games. And you can see that what they're trying to do is in the future turn this into another crowdfunding platform. So that's pretty cool that if they can do that and try to address some of the issues that, you know, us board game creators have with Kickstarter, that would be great. It's going to be a very hard and uphill battle because everyone is familiar with Kickstarter and Gamefound is just going to be this new person on the block. But it's a long-term play of trying to just build up an audience. But as you can see, let's show you one more thing. They have a lot of pretty big games that are on here nowadays, like Chronicles of Crime and Great Wall, Town Legends, Company Heroes, Curators. They're getting more and more bigger games, View All Projects, For Science. What are some other bigger ones? Oh, Mind Management, that's a big one. That's it for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great week.